It is rare that the suspect fleeing from police is someone who used to wear a badge. But on December 2nd, 2025, that is exactly what happened on Interstate 5 in California.
Speeds are 100.
This is the story of Deputy Marvin Morales, a law enforcement officer who lost his career to fentanyl in a station bathroom. 2 years later, lost his life after committing an unspeakable crime against his own family. The beginning of the end started on the night of October 24, 2023. Sacramento County Sheriff's Deputy Marvin Morales was on patrol when he conducted a stop on a suspicious person.
I know. Can I get it back? How about that stop right there?
During the encounter, Morales seized a small amount of narcotics wrapped in tinfoil. He believed it was methamphetamine. He cited the suspect and confiscated the drugs, but he never booked the drugs into evidence. Hours later, back at the station, he entered a restroom stall. According to internal affairs reports, he used a glass pipe to smoke the meth he had just seized. Except it wasn't just meth. It contained fentanyl. Morales collapsed on the bathroom floor. His partners, wondering where he was, entered the restroom and found him unresponsive. In a desperate bid to save his life, fellow deputies administered multiple doses of Narcan.
Morales! Wake up, bro! Morales! Yes, where my car's at? First Narcan apply, he's coming too. Leave that door open! Morales! You good?
My radio is dead.
Huh?
My radio is dead.
Get his vest off. Get his vest off. Straight his leg. Straight his leg.
Yep. How you take this shit off me?
Morales! Morales! Hey.
He was revived and rushed to the hospital. At the time, the partner didn't immediately reveal the cause, initially treating it as a possible chemical exposure. But the truth was far darker. The deputy had overdosed on duty using drugs he took from a citizen.
The pipe that's on the ground wasn't next to him, was it?
I don't
That's what I'm
remember.
concerned about. There's a meth pipe sitting over by the door.
I don't remember, but it was in the stall with him.
Okay.
The lighter was somewhere. I don't know.
All right.
So,
Not a big deal.
The investigation that followed was damning. Hair follicle tests revealed chronic drug use. It was recommended that Morales be fired for lying about his drug use, mishandling evidence, and conduct unbecoming of an officer. However, before he could be terminated, Morales resigned in February 2024, citing personal reasons. By March 2024, he had voluntarily surrendered his peace officer certification, permanently disqualifying him from ever working in California law enforcement again. Fast forward to December 2nd, 2025. It is just past 8 a.m. in Elk Grove, California. Morales, now a civilian, is at home on Farrow Way with his 2 children. His estranged wife, who is not at the house, checked home security cameras remotely. She watched in horror as Morales began attacking their 11-year-old son, Mar Morales. She immediately called 911. Officers from Elk Grove Police Department rushed to the scene. Inside, they found the 11-year-old boy suffering from multiple stab wounds. Tragically, despite being rushed to the hospital, the boy would not survive. His 6-year-old sister was found inside the home unharmed. But Morales was nowhere to be found. A massive multi-agency pursuit began. The chase reached speeds of over 100 miles per hour. Knowing Morales had a military background and law enforcement training, officers treated this as a high-risk encounter. Approximately 20 miles south of the murder scene, near Highway 12, the California Highway Patrol deployed spike strips. Morales' SUV hit the strips, veered off the road, and crashed into a ditch.
walk to us now! Marvin, walk to us! Don't reach! Don't reach!
Hands coming up. Hands up. Gun.
Gun. Got a gun.
Drop it. Right hand's empty. Can we see the left hand?
Hey, you guys take the car.
Yeah, we got the car.
I got the dog.
All right, let's take the dog off.
Copy that.
Like hundreds before him committing suicide by cop, he raised the rifle toward officers. He was struck multiple times. He was transported to a hospital in San Joaquin County where he was pronounced dead. The man who once swore to protect the public had died in a shootout with his former colleagues. While we cannot say for certain what his mental state was on that day, the tragic trajectory from addiction to violence is undeniable. But why didn't anyone notice? Police officers are trained observers, trained to look for signs of drug use and intoxication. But why does it seem we don't notice when it's one of our own? I want to move on to our personal story because Morales' story made me think about those questions. This is about a partner we're close to, someone we depend on, and there may be signs we miss until it's too late. In 2007, I began an investigation into an officer I worked with, a former canine handler for the now disbanded Maywood Police Department in California. Investigating officers wasn't my job, but I was in charge of the detective bureau and no one else was available. Someone had to have seen the signs in this case, but no one said anything. The investigation began on my day off when I got the call. A lieutenant told me he needed to interview a sexual assault victim in a hospital. I refused at first because I had just worked 34 days straight and was exhausted. In the end, I was ordered to go, so I did. The victim was at a hospital in the city of Pomona, which isn't close to Maywood. So her story couldn't be true, the lieutenant told me. He figured the victim had the wrong police agency. And after we chatted, so did I. I got to the hospital and met with the Pomona police sergeant, who gave me a summary of the allegations against our officer. I took one look at her and knew her story wasn't true at all. She was a meth addict. Homeless looking, dirty, with dirt under her finger and toenails. She smelled like a homeless person, had greasy hair, burns and scabs on her lip from drug pipes she used, and open sores on her face. The exact opposite of the officer she was accusing. He was a tall, fit, good-looking guy with a nice wife and family. At minimum, she had the wrong officer. I turned on my recorder and began the interview and interrogation. This was her story. She was leaving a liquor store when an officer detained her and began to question her regarding her drug use. She admitted to having drug paraphernalia, so the officer ran her information through dispatch, which showed she had an active warrant. He told her he was going to take her to jail for the warrant. She begged him not to, as she didn't want her children removed by the Department of Children and Family Services. He told her if she met him at a local motel, he wouldn't take her to jail. He warned her if she ran, he'd send his canine after her and say she'd try to escape, placing her in fear of both him and the use of his police dog, forcing her from the liquor store where he stopped her to a motel, satisfying the requirements for kidnapping in the state of California. She complied and began walking toward the motel, with the canine officer slowly following in his police cruiser. She changed her mind on the way and sneaked into a convenience store to evade him. I later saw footage of her pacing around the store, peering through signs in the windows and pacing some more. Eventually, it was all clear. She could be seen walking out, but after a few steps, her body language changed. The officer was waiting in the parking lot. They continued to the motel where he got a room key from the staff. He met with the victim in the parking lot. To justify his presence there, he ran a random license plate. The car returned stolen. He told her to go to the room to avoid the backup officers that would eventually come. An officer who arrived took the report for him. He then walked inside the motel to conduct a walkthrough and check for criminal activity. He entered the room with a small equipment bag police often carry. There was no equipment in the bag though, but there was a rape kit. He sexually assaulted her in many ways, including with an adult toy he kept in that bag. He made her shower to get rid of evidence, and since he knew she was homeless, he told her she could stay for the night, and he left. She didn't remain long, and she told a couple of people what happened to her. One of them eventually took her to the hospital where I interviewed her. In June 2013, the officer was sentenced to 19 years in state prison, after pleading no contest to crimes involving 5 women. That included 2 counts of rape and 3 counts of penetration with a foreign object. The women ranged in age from 20 years old to 50. All of the crimes took place while he was on duty in 2006 and 2007. In exchange for his plea, a Superior Court judge dismissed the remaining 37 counts against him. With Deputy Morales, the theft of drugs or the use of substances on duty was the gateway to his collapse. Whether it ends in an overdose in a station bathroom or a prison cell for assaulting citizens, the root cause is often the feeling of invincibility. That feeling of invincibility may be the offender believing his partners won't say a word. This goes back to what I mentioned before this story. Why don't people notice? Or why don't they say something? If you say something, you're not being a rat. You might be saving that partner's own life. In this case, you might have been saving several women from being sexually assaulted. As always, be vigilant, be safe. This video is in memory of Mar Eris Antalan Morales.